It seems like everybody's trying to eat more protein these days, and if you're in the same boat, this is the video for you. I am sharing 3 easy recipes that you can make ahead of time. I think a lot of times when people think of adding more protein to their meals, they think that they're going to be suddenly eating like a bodybuilder and eating a bland combination of protein, steamed vegetable, and a plain rice, but it really doesn't have to be like that. I love incorporating plant-based protein along with fiber and healthy carbs and fats to create balanced meals that look as good as they taste and will keep you eating a variety of whole foods in your diet. I'm making this video in collaboration with Thrive Market, which is my favorite online grocery store that aims to make healthy living easy and affordable for everyone. I placed an order for some of the ingredients I'll be using in the recipes for this video, plus I also got some high protein snacks that I'm so excited to try. I've been shopping with Thrive Market for years now, and I love how easy they make grocery shopping, especially when I'm in a busy season of my life. I can choose from their wide variety of products on their website, shop in my pajamas, and get it delivered straight to my door. Another great thing about Thrive Market is they have all of these values and filters you can apply to your searches. So for me, I am vegan, and it's very easy to check a box on the side of the screen and only see vegan products. You can also filter products for gluten-free, women-owned brands, and so much more. They have over 90 different values for you to choose from. And once you find your favorites, it's also very easy to set up auto shipments with their buy it again button. First, I got 2 bags of this high protein chickpea rice. It's essentially shaped like an orzo, so I love using this in place of orzo in recipes when I want to add a little bit more fiber and protein. I also stocked up on my favorite crackers. I discovered these in my last Thrive Market order. They're sourdough sea salt crackers, and I got 3 boxes of them because I just could not stop eating them the last time I ordered them and regretted not buying more. While we're on the topic of crackers, I also got these brown rice cakes that are going to be used as a sort of crunchy side to one of our recipes we're making today. And I ordered some of our favorite chili crisp. We'll also be using this. I also ordered some organic sesame seeds. I love how Thrive Market sells their spices in these bags, so it's super easy to refill the jars that I already have. I also got this coffee creamer in my previous Thrive Market order. We love it. It's an almond and coconut French vanilla flavored creamer, and I love that it has no added sugar to it because I personally don't like my coffee to be too sweet. Last but certainly not least, I got 3 different high protein snacks that I'm really excited to try. I've never seen these at my grocery store, so I'm really glad Thrive Market had them because they look like they'll be so helpful for grab and go. First up, I got these mini bars. I always have a craving for a little something sweet in the afternoon, and they each have 6 grams of protein, and I think it's just the perfect little thing to grab if I don't want to grab like a square of chocolate. I also ordered a pack of these snack-sized brahmi beans. They're Mediterranean flavored, and they're just little fun snack-sized packs of lupini beans. I like to keep these in my fridge because I prefer them cold, but I also just like stuffing a few in my purse if I'm ever out and need a quick little snack, and these are a great source of fiber and protein too. Last but certainly not least, I'm excited to try these protein crisps. They're sea salt and vinegar flavored, and they're made with a plant-based protein blend and coconut oil. It's like an alternative to chips, which I think will be really fun to try. That's my Thrive Market order for this time. As you can see, I like to get a good mix of pantry staples, fun snacks that I know we love, and new things to try as well. Because I'm partnering with Thrive Market for this video, I get to offer you a special discount code. You can go to thrivemarket.com/shoemaker, and when you sign up for Thrive Market, you'll get 30% off of your first order plus a free gift worth up to $60. I already saved money buying my favorite products online at Thrive Market, so you'll save even more when you place your first order, and the free gift is like a nice little cherry on top. So click the link in the description below, and now we're going to move on to cooking some of these recipes. The first recipe we're going to make together is a high protein pesto orzo salad. I love making a good pasta salad for meal prep because I feel like it's a great way to throw in some greens and veggies, and pasta, unlike rice, doesn't dry out as much in the fridge once it's been tossed in a dressing. So I'm following my recipe for my pesto orzo salad, which does have chickpeas, which is a great source of fiber and plant-based protein. But instead of using regular orzo, we're going to be using the high protein orzo that I got from Thrive Market. We're going to be using the whole bag, which has 36 grams of protein, which is a lot more than traditional orzo, and it's gluten-free. The first step of this recipe is actually cooking your orzo. So I have a large pot of water that I'm bringing to a boil. Then once that's boiling, I'm going to add in some salt with my orzo and then cook according to the package instructions. So this simmers for about 6 to 7 minutes. Then I'm going to drain this, rinse with cold water until it reaches room temperature and set it aside. While the orzo simmers, we can prep the rest of our ingredients. Another thing I love about this recipe is there actually isn't too much to prep. I'm just going to slice my tomatoes in half here. The only other change I'm making to this recipe is I'm actually going to make it nut-free. The recipe calls for pine nuts, which can be a little pricey sometimes, but they are delicious. But today I'm going to be using pumpkin seeds instead, which is a great substitute if you have a nut allergy or you just want to save a little bit more money. And pumpkin seeds are also a great source of iron too. I like to use fresh tomatoes, but if they aren't in season when you're watching this video, you can also use sun-dried tomatoes too for a nice little fun variation. And feel free to throw in extra veggies too. This one is going to be using our tomatoes, chickpeas, and arugula or baby spinach if that's what you prefer. But you could also easily throw in a cucumber, some shredded carrot, or any other veggies you like olives if you just want to add a little bit more variety. The only other thing we need to chop is some basil. We need about half of a cup of fresh basil. I just want to understand how we're living in 2025 and have so many modern inventions, but we still can't create basil that doesn't wilt between the grocery store checkout and arriving at your house. And now we're going to work on our dressing. You're going to want a large bowl to assemble our dressing. This dressing is a little unique. We're actually going to be using pesto as the base. I'm using my arugula pesto, but again, I substituted pumpkin seeds for walnuts to make it nut-free. But you could also just use a store-bought pesto if you want to make things extra easy. The pesto already has oil, salt, green seasonings. So the only thing we're going to do is add 3 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. You could also use lemon juice. And we're going to whisk this together to form more of a pasta salad dressing. So we're really just adding some acid to the pesto to make it more of a vinaigrette. And then we're thinning it out with a liquid as well. It might still look a little thick, but that's actually okay because the orzo is going to be kind of wet, which is going to thin it out even more. So we've got our orzo that we've rinsed and cooled. We're going to add in some greens. I'm using 2 ounces of arugula, but if you're not a fan of arugula, you could also use baby spinach. Then we'll also add in some tomatoes, chickpeas, fresh basil, vegan feta, which is technically optional, but I recommend it, and some nuts. You can use pine nuts, or here I'm using the pumpkin seeds. Now we're going to mix everything together until it's all evenly coated in the dressing. This recipe tastes like summer to me, but in a way that's like good even when it's cold outside. It's just so refreshing, especially from the basil and fresh tomatoes. And I think this is a pretty balanced meal as is, but if you wanted to add even more protein, you could easily top it with another protein source. You could toss in another can of chickpeas if you wanted to, or make some crispy tofu, or add some vegan chicken on top as well. I mix this all together to show you the basic process, but now that I'm thinking about it, if you're actually making this for meal prep, I would probably not mix the arugula in and just have like an extra saucy salad. Then divide your salad into your meal prep containers. And then I would put the arugula on top. It's still gonna be good this way. The arugula is just going to wilt a tiny bit more, but if you just put the fresh arugula on top and seal it up, you can flip it upside down when you're ready to eat it and just give it a quick mix, and that would be the best if you want like extra crispy greens. So that's it for this pesto orzo salad. As with all of these recipes, you can find the full details on my blog. All of it is linked in the description of this video. Next, I'm going to make my smashed cucumber and edamame salad. I have been loving bean salads in the last year or two, which are essentially salads with a base of beans instead of lettuce. So the bulk of the salad is going to be beans, but we're still going to add in a bunch of other veggies and seasonings and herbs and dressing. So it's very filling and nourishing, but it's also a great source of plant-based protein and fiber, which is going to help keep you full. For this recipe, we're going to be using edamame, but if that's not your thing, I have a ton of other bean-based salads on my blog. You should definitely check it out. I really love this recipe in spring to warmer months because it's very satisfying, and it's great for meal prep because it only gets better in the fridge after everything gets to marinate for a bit. The first thing we're going to do is smash our cucumber. So you're going to need 1 long seedless cucumber. This is sometimes known as a hothouse cucumber. It's usually wrapped in thin plastic. I much prefer these to the English cucumbers that have a thicker skin and they almost taste a little more sour. So I'd really recommend this variety, or you can use Persian cucumbers, which are also seedless, but as you can see, they're a lot smaller. So if you are using the smaller cucumbers, you probably want about 4 or 5 of them, but either one will work for this recipe. And the first thing we're going to do is to quarter our cucumber to make it easier to smash. I like to cut it in half as well. I find that that's easier to deal with. And depending how thick your cucumber is, you're gonna wanna cut it into quarters. I actually think I'm gonna do it in thirds today, just to get a little bit of a smaller smashed cucumber piece. Keep the cucumber cut side down, and we're gonna repeat the same thing with our other half. My cucumber is cut, and now for the fun part, we're going to smash it. If you're wondering, why do I even need to smash my cucumber? It actually does slightly change the flavor of the cucumber when you smash it. It gives almost more of like an earthy flavor, and I think the texture is also really fun. So my favorite way to do this is with a rolling pin because it's long and flat, but you could use any heavy object you want. If you want to be gentle, you could just like roll over your cucumber, but I feel like in today's day and age, we have a lot of things to be mad about. So I'm gonna take some of my anger out on these cucumbers, and you just give them a nice little tap. It's okay if they move around some, and you might get some splashes, but you just kind of want to mess up the edges. Our cucumber is smashed. Now we're going to cut it into bite-sized pieces. I like to say about like 1/2-inch slices. I just take my knife and work my way down the sliced cucumbers. Now we're going to transfer this cucumber into a bowl. I have it lined with a metal sieve. Any kind of strainer will work though. Place all of your cucumber pieces in the sieve, and we're gonna generously salt our cucumber. Just use like a few pinches of salt. You're just gonna sprinkle it over top. And you don't need to mix it too well, but just give it a few good mixes to make sure all of the cucumber pieces are coated in salt. This is going to draw out some moisture from the cucumber and keep our salad from becoming too soggy. It's kind of hard to see from this angle, but there actually is already some water draining out of the cucumber. So ideally you want to let this sit for about 20 to 30 minutes, which I think is the perfect time because it gives you enough time to do the rest of the things for this recipe. And now we're going to cook our edamame. This is shelled edamame. A lot of times in the store you'll see it as mukamame, starts with an M, just means it's shelled. I usually find this in my grocery aisle in the frozen veggie section near where like the frozen peas are. Most of the time you need to cook this before you use it, so make sure you read the bag carefully. You can often cook it in the microwave, but today I'm gonna cook it in the stovetop according to the package instructions. It only takes a few minutes to simmer, so we're going to get this going, and then once it's done, remove it from the stove and rinse it with cold water until it comes back down to room temperature. While everything drains, we're going to work on our dressing. You need a medium large-ish sized bowl. We're going to add 2 tablespoons of unseasoned rice vinegar, a tablespoon of soy sauce, a teaspoon of cane sugar, or you can use another liquid sweetener, a teaspoon of toasted sesame oil. I also recommend adding between 1 and 3 teaspoons of chili oil, depending on how spicy you like things. I'm gonna go in with about 2 teaspoons. And last but not least, we're going to add a clove of crushed garlic. You may be worried that this is going to be too strong, but it's going to mellow out a lot once it comes in contact with the vinegar. So we're going to whisk everything together until the cane sugar has completely dissolved. Once it's dissolved, then you just dump everything in and mix it. So first we've got our cucumbers that are nice and drained. You don't want to rinse the salt off, just add the drained cucumbers directly to the bowl. We'll also add in our cooked edamame. I like to add about 3 thinly sliced green onions for some extra flavor and a little bit of crunch. And for extra crunch, I like to add about a tablespoon of sesame seeds, toasted or untoasted, whatever your preference is. Now we're just going to mix everything up until it's evenly distributed, and you have your smashed cucumber and edamame salad. If you like a lighter, snackier lunch, I think this is perfect as is, or you can even use this as like a protein-dense snack or a side for whatever your lunch or entree is. I do like to bulk it up sometimes, so especially in cooler months or if I'm serving this right away, I'll just make some rice in my Instant Pot, and I love to serve it over rice. You could also easily meal prep it with rice. I would just put rice in the bottom of the dish and then spoon the salad on top like so, and some of the extra dressing from the edamame and the cucumber will help keep the rice from getting too dry. So that's one option, but if you want to eat it a little more of like a dip style, I've served this before with nori. You can just put it in the nori and eat it, and the seaweed is also great for you. However, I am honestly not much of a seaweed fan, so I like to use rice cakes for a little extra crunch. I like to buy these thin ones. I get mine on Thrive Market because they're more of like a chip, whereas regular rice cakes are a little too thick in my opinion, but it's the perfect vessel. You can just spoon your edamame cucumber salad on top and then take a bite and enjoy it like this. Honestly, this is too much. It's gonna fall off back into the bowl. Let's start with a little. The rice cake adds a little bit of crunch and just helps to bulk it up just a little more, which makes it more filling. So we've got 2 recipes down, 1 to go. Let's get into the final recipe. Last but certainly not least, we're going to be making my stuffed pepper soup. If you love stuffed peppers but don't want to put in as much effort, I highly recommend this soup. It has all of the yummy things that are in stuffed peppers, but it's a lot easier to make, less hands-on time, and a soup, in my opinion, is a little more portable and easy to reheat in the microwave. The other great thing about this recipe is it uses less peppers, so it's a little more budget friendly because bell peppers can actually get quite expensive at the store. So I prefer to use 1 green bell pepper and 1 red bell pepper to get some variety. But if you really hate green bell peppers, I know a few people do, you can just do 2 red bell peppers or 2 peppers in the colors of your choosing. So we're gonna core both of our peppers and we're going to roughly chop them until it's about a 1 inch or maybe a little smaller dice. I like to have the peppers in a little bit bigger chunks than like a fine dice. I think this way when you bite into the soup, you get more of that like stuffed pepper feeling because it's a larger piece of pepper. Before we head over to the stove, you're going to need about a pound of plant-based ground beef. Today I'm using these frozen grounds. You could also use a meat alternative like Impossible Meat or Beyond Meat if you prefer, but I actually really like these grounds from Gardein. This bag has 23 grams of protein per serving and there's 4.5 servings per container. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's very close to 100 grams of protein in just this one bag. So we're gonna add this to our soup and make it nice and filling and protein dense. So you're going to warm some olive oil in a large Dutch oven or soup pot. And the first thing we're going to do is add our vegan grounds and cook them for about 5 minutes until they're browned. Push those to the side of the pot and add a little bit of more oil. And then we're going to saute our onion and bell peppers for 3 to 5 minutes until the onion is translucent. Now we'll go in with our aromatics. We've got garlic, Italian seasoning, cumin, red pepper flakes, and black pepper to taste. Mix everything together at this point and we'll saute it for 1 to 2 minutes until the garlic is fragrant. Next, add 1 cup of rinsed white rice. Then we'll also add in some tomato puree, diced tomatoes, vegetable broth, and water. Give everything a good mix and bring to a boil over high heat. Then reduce the heat to medium and simmer for 20 minutes or until the rice has fully cooked. Remember to stir the soup occasionally, otherwise some of the rice will stick to the bottom of the pot and we don't like that. Once the soup is done, you can serve it warm. My favorite way to serve it is with some fresh parsley and a little bit of cheese, which I feel like is classic stuffed pepper and so delicious. This soup is a little thick. I personally prefer my soups more like stews on the thicker side, but you can always thin it out with extra vegetable broth or you could use a little bit less rice as well. I also forgot to mention earlier, if you don't want to use plant-based grounds, you can also use lentils. I have a substitute for that in the notes in my blog post, which is linked down below if you want to check it out. So that concludes this video. I hope you enjoyed all of these recipes and thanks again to Thrive Market for sponsoring this video. Be sure to go to thrivemarket.com/shoemaker to get 30% off of your first Thrive Market order and a free gift worth up to $60. I really enjoy making these videos for you, and if you have any suggestions of things you'd like to see from me in the future, whether it's more recipe videos, a specific type of recipe video, or maybe more vlog or lifestyle content, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. And as always, you can find all the recipes on the blog and you can find more recipes on other social media platforms as well. Thank you all so much for watching and I look forward to seeing you again in a future video. Bye.